All right, so first thing we do is give them a little puff at the entrance, let them know we're coming in. Then we go a little bit around the edge. And we're gonna gently take this off. I'm gonna look for a queen in here. Just make sure she's not up there. Usually she's not, but you never know. Okay, then we're gonna give them a little puff.
I like how you use a little bit of smoke. I see people people use so much smoke that
you can use too much. You don't want to really mess them up. Just want to. All right, so this when propolis is hard, this tends to pop. So what we're going to do is try to prevent it from popping too much. Okay, the same thing. We're going to look. All right, we have a few hive beetles here. Just smash them. To a healthy colony, hive beetles aren't going to have any effect.
Okay.
If you have a weak colony, they could really do some damage.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to gently put this down here. Front. All right, and give them a little puff. Okay, and then we're going to push everything over gently against this wall without crushing any bees. And I use my fingers to prevent that from happening. It's really tight. It was a little chilly last night, so when the hive's really hot, this stuff, it moves a lot easier. When propolis is cold, it hardens up. The wax hardens up, so it's a little harder to move them. It's like in the wintertime, they'll just pop when you have to get in there in the winter.
Now, how often do you actually go in the winter?
Only in an emergency.
Okay.
All right, but like in October, September, October, you get some chilly nights. It'll get like that. But if you ever have to get in there in the winter, it's really hard.
Okay.
And if you have a dead out, if you're hot, you notice your hive's died, you want to clean it up as soon as possible. So you go in there and get all the bees out so they don't mold.
Okay. How do you know if they're alive? Would you see them out
when
there?
They're dead?
I mean,
How do you know they're dead?
like, would you open up the box to see?
Well, on a warm day, if you don't see any flying, then you say something's wrong.
Okay.
So you pick one of your warmest days. Like if it gets into the 50s, you take the top off and you take a look and see where they are. I mean, you can get an infrared camera for your phone, and you can look at it and see where they are.
Well, that's a good idea. I actually have one of those too. So okay.
Do you have one of them?
I think I should. I actually used to use it for work, so I might, I might have it in there somewhere. I haven't used it in a while, but. What
is it? A FLIR one or something?
It is a FLIR. I'm not sure which one is it, but
Does it work pretty good?
I mean, last time I used it was about 2 years ago. So, quite honestly, I don't even remember, but I do know I have it.
And you used to look for leaks and stuff. So look. Around windows?
Yes.
Those windows that you sell?
Yes.
So we went with Pella probably 10 years ago.
Okay.
Or maybe even more. Not happy.
I
don't know if it's the window or the installer.
Yeah.
And
a lot of it is the install too, which is equally important or more important sometimes than the window itself.
They were supposed to, because it was, I have a brick house. I don't know if you're familiar with Roebling. Have you had anybody in there?
Yeah, we go there.
And, they had to be like, custom fit. And I don't think they seal. I got air movement around them. So.
Yes, I get.
When the wind blows. So what's the sense of them getting a freaking window if the air is going to go around it?
Exactly. Well, that's what I preach every day.
And if you guys want to come in and do a commercial and replace them for me,
sure.
And do a commercial. I'd be happy to consider that.
Sure.
I have like 30 windows.
You did nice. That's a lot of windows.
That's a lot of windows. It was very expensive.
So for some reason, don't these bees look much happier to you compared to the other hive, or do you feel like they have more activity, more movement, or is that just me?
I think
Like,
that
I see
they've built up a little bit better, but they
Okay.
might have been just a little bit bigger to start.
Okay.
Because like all the nukes are different. They're not. I see a lot of new bees coming out, so they might have had a frame or two of capped brood that emerged and helped things out,
Okay.
so that they could draw out more wax.
Now, what exactly is a cap brood? Is that
A cap.
Okay. So.
Capped worker brood. So like right down here in this corner, all these flat capped, they're all baby bees under there.
Okay.
All right. So the ones in the center have emerged because the queen lays from the center out. So she lays here and then spirals out. So these were laid after the ones in the center that have already emerged.
Okay.
So all these empty spaces here, the bees have emerged from it, and that's those young bees walking around, those little fuzzy things.
Okay.
All right. So, and then she's already relayed. I can see eggs in the center and some young larvae. So that's a second time she's laid in this since we've had it.
Very cool.
Since you've had it. So cap. I always say cap. Capped.
Okay.
Capped brood.
Okay.
All right. So the queen lays an egg, and it's an egg for 3 days, and then it hatches into a larva.
Okay.
And after 8 days, the larva is capped. And then after a total of 21 days from the day the egg was laid, the bees emerge. So that's a cycle.
Okay.
And then the queen just relays it, or they start putting nectar back in there. And when they start putting nectar back in, it's called backfilling.
Okay.
The brood nest. That's usually a sign that they're running out of space, or they feel they're running out of space.
Okay.
And that's a time to add a second box,
Okay.
or they're going to swarm on you. That's like an initial sign. That's even before they make any queen cells or anything.
And now, when they swarm, the whole hive swarms, or
No, the queen, original queen from the colony, will leave with approximately half the bees.
Okay.
Okay, they'll leave bees back. They'll leave. They'll make queen cells. All right, and swarm cells are usually towards the bottom of the frame. I'm holding the top, so they'd be down here in the bottom. That's all bridge comb down there.
Okay.
All right, and so they'll leave queen cells, and they usually leave a large number.
Okay.
Anywhere from 5 to 10. And then those queens will emerge. They'll figure out who's going to be the boss. She flies out, gets mated, and then takes over this colony, while the other queen left and went to a new location to start a new colony.
Interesting.
So this,
The wings all look good. The wings all look healthy. I'm actually looking at the wings.
Yep. And look at that, all that brood there. That's 7,000 bees that are going to be coming out of here soon.
Wow.
I mean, the other side I saw starting to emerge.
Now, with certain bees you see with their wings tucked back, and there's certain ones you see their wings are flared out. What does that mean?
It depends. I don't know exactly, but I see some that have their wings out. Maybe they just came back.
Okay.
Maybe they're about to do a dance.
Okay.
I mean, the real new bees are always tucked in because they don't know how to fly yet. So
cool.
So this one's a little further along than the other one. But the other one does have a queen, and she's laying. So what we'll do is next week we'll take one of those frames of capped brood and put it over there.
Okay.
So this is all laid out. I see eggs. I don't know.
I see them. I see them.
See
But
'em?
yep, I see those. Yeah, they're much easier to see on the black background.
Foundation.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. And they're all laying down, so that means that she laid them either a couple days ago.
Okay.
There she is right there. You see her?
Right there.
Yeah,
That's
look at that. She's nice.
Yeah.
Nice Italian queen.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. It's awesome. That's a
Okay,
big...
now some big drones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, she's pretty. Look at her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a nice
She's
queen.
in there to get a sip of
Right
nectar.
there, yeah.
All right, so put her in there.
And you said the average lifespan for a queen bee can be up to 2 years, or?
Well, more recently, people are, because the production of the queens, the getting them mated is not as good as it used to be. Because
Okay.
it used to have queens that last 5 years.
Wow.
So if you get 2 years out of a queen now,
Wow.
that's good. But these were all.
Why do you think that changed? With all
I don't know if it's
pesticides and everything that we use?
yeah. Pesticides, the nature of the food. There's not that diversity that we used to have of food. So they're kind of
That's
drawing
messed up.
out a little wonky comb there. So I'm not gonna knock that down right now. It's got a bunch of honey in it, so it's not or nectar in there. So I'm not gonna worry about that right now.
Okay.
But when we put the second box on, I'll take care of that.
Okay.
Now I'm thinking next week we put a second box on this.
Wow. Okay, cool.
Because the frames that we checkerboarded last week, they've drawn out nicely.
Now, when you see them, like there were a few in there that were actually doing like a lot of vibrations, a lot of movement. What is that?
Walking
usually?
around. Yeah, it's called Waggle dance.
Okay.
They're telling their workmates the location of a nectar source.
Okay.
All right, they use the sun as a reference,
Okay.
and they'll go in a certain direction for a certain amount of time or waggles, and then they'll turn and go. And they're saying you go here from the sun. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's giving them directions to a nectar source.
That is so cool.
The direction and how far it is.
That's
and then they'll
awesome.
go and repeat the process, and they'll even bring a sample back and share it with some of the bees.
That's
And
awesome.
saying, hey, this is the quality of this nectar source.
That's
You
amazing.
can see all the eggs in there too, right?
Yep, I see him. I see him. All those white specks.
Yep. You put this on a big TV,
Yeah.
right? You can show your
Yeah.
parents.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's all laid out too.
Yeah. Yep. I see him.
So she's doing a great job.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's not fully drawn out, that foundation. So next week, I think we will have to put a second box on here. And we'll be done with that.
And you were saying the weight of one of these boxes can be up to 80 pounds. Is that?
Yeah, if it's a full box of honey, if you use it as a honey super, it could be that. See, because this frame is heavy, so much heavier than the one I just took out.
Okay.
Look at all that. It's all new bees underneath there,
Yeah, you
ready
can even
to
see
emerge.
that fresh honey out there too.
Yep, and this is honey right here, capped. All right, so when they take the nectar, they bring the nectar in. It's in their honey crop. They'll share it with another bee who will put some enzymes in it, and then they'll put it into the cell, and then they dry it out, dehydrate it, reduce the water content down to about 18%, and then they cap it to prevent it from absorbing any moisture from the air.
Wow.
It's like,
How complicated is it to extract the honey? Is it?
it's pretty easy.
It is? Okay.
Yeah. Well, the other boxes are shallower, right? The honey supers are shallow. And so what you do is you take a knife and you run it along, and you cut the caps off, and you do that in a decapping tank, so it drips down to the bottom, so you don't lose that. You take that, you put it it's called an extractor, basically a centrifuge. There's two different types. There's a radial where the frames are like spokes, and you just turn it until all the honey comes out. And then there's other ones that are called transdental. They're flat like that, and then it spins. So it only spins one side out at a time. You have to turn them around and then do it again. So the radial is a little bit better. But and you can get a hand crank one. You can get one that holds 2 frames all the way up to like 100 and some frames.
Huh? Man Lake has all of that stuff, right? I mean, they should have all that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Are they normally expensive or?
Well, it depends on what you get. Yeah, you can get a manual one, and that's a lot cheaper than a one with a motor. So that's looking good. I don't know if you can see all the different stages of larvae in there. How, you know, the real tiny C's.
Yeah, I see them. Very cool.
So the outside one is probably just, that's good. Oh. And you try not to smash bees, but sometimes
you don't have a
it
choice.
happens. Yep. You know, you give them a little chance to get out of the way, and sometimes they move right back in when it's going to pinch. You can't.
Yeah, see
you
them right
can't
there,
spend
right?
all day, you know.
Yeah.
And if sometimes if they're like if there's a lot of them, you would just give them a little puff, move them out of the way. Use smoke to move them. Use smoke to calm them down.
Yeah, I like I use just a little bit of smoke.
Yeah.
I see, like, you know, online people using a lot of smoke sometimes. It's just,
And then they're just, I think they're just showing off. You use what you need to use. You know, if it's not moving them, and it's not effective, or they're really. So see that one stung me in the finger.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, see, right there.
Now, usually when a bee stings you, it has that, right?
Yeah, it has a barbed stinger, and it sticks. You can see it right there. I don't know if you can see that.
I see it.
But it stung me right on my thumbnail. So I didn't feel it. I just saw it. So,
How do you normally take the stings out if you weren't wearing a glove? Would you just
you use something straight, like a credit card,
squeezer?
or you don't never squeeze it, because there's a sac there. It's their venom sac. If you squeeze that, it means you're injecting it right into you. So what you do is you just scrape it off like that. Either a credit card or something, something like that. You got to be careful with these hive tools. Sometimes they're very sharp. You don't want to cut yourself and then make it worse than the bee sting. And sometimes you just can't get it out, because you're like, if I get stung through my pants, or one crawled up my leg, and I get a bee sting there, I'm not gonna drop my pants in somebody's backyard. If I'm out in one of my bee yards, I might, but I'm not gonna.
That's awesome. All right.
See how they're like piling up here? I'll just get
a little bit of smoke so they move out the way.
Get them out of the way.
Cool. So they don't get crushed. That's awesome.
Just gently.